So where do we go after fighting a demon? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 4 of Frieren. Yeah, this is an interesting show because it's very much episodic, as in like each episode is kind of its own separate thing, but at the same time it all does connect. It's like an ongoing story with these episodic little adventures or stops along the way, you could say. Like it feels like it's a combination of both of those, episodic and serialized. And it's very relaxing and comforting. And because of that, has like almost no stakes. Even last episode, like with the demon and everything, it's like I just don't feel like there's any stakes to this at all, because it's like we know that nothing's going to happen. It's not that kind of show. And it makes you kind of wonder, it's like, where is this going to go? What's going to happen? What is going to keep people invested in this series? Because the thing is, I know people are super invested in this series. This show did amazingly and got a huge audience. But if it just continues the way it's been going the entire time, I don't see that being able to hold that big of an audience's attention on its own. There's got to be something more. And I know there's more characters in the opening that we've yet to meet and stuff. And I wonder if, like, part of it is that. But I kind of feel like there has to be some kind of, like, narrative uptick here. Like, there has to be something that's going to happen that's going to, like, really kick this into kind of overdrive, you could say. That's going to make it that much more exciting to watch. But I might be wrong. Maybe people just like this because it's chill and relaxed and doesn't have anything else going on for it. I'm one of those weird people out there who sometimes I can live with that, and sometimes I really need more. And it just depends on how the series is executed in that regard. This is a show that I could see going either way. But I feel like it needs to do more. Like, for example, with as strong and long living and skillful as Frieren is, I want to see someone who actually gives her trouble or straight up defeats her. Because we've given these first few episodes all this time to showcase how strong she is, as well as Fern. To showcase that Fern, while not on Frieren's level, is like getting there. She's becoming an excellent mage herself and showing exceptional promise. But I want to see someone who is on another level. Because I kind of just don't want Frieren to be like the strongest out there. This isn't like a One Punch Man situation where that not only works, but it's the point of the whole series. It's the joke that the series is predicated on. And that works for One Punch Man because everything is built around that. But here, that very much is clearly not the case. With something like this, you need more. You need there to be more, because having Frieren be just the strongest and never able to be upstaged or defeated or anything wouldn't be entertaining for this kind of show. And I'm not saying like this series needs to go into like full like high octane action sequences and stuff, but it needs a little bit more, something more to just elevate it. Also, my camera died at some point, and I apologize for that. So let me see if I can get that back up. Just a second here. Hello. There we are. Okay, I'll try to get this figured out before the reaction because I don't want this kind of shit happening during the reaction. But yeah, I just feel like there needs to be something to elevate this series and really make it be something more than what it is here. Like we already started to see that at the point we got to in Delicious in Dungeon even. And although we haven't gotten the full reveal of what that all is yet, at least it's given us something. Now, mind you, this is only episode 4 we're going into of Frieren, so there's still time. It's still setting things up, introducing us to the characters and the idea and everything. So there's still time to get to that point. And my camera died again. But yeah, hopefully we get to that sooner rather than later. That's just... Sorry about this. That's just my hope for the series going forward. It's what I'm hoping for. It's what I'm looking for with this show. Come on. Okay, now it's not even coming back up. Oh, there we go. And it's dead again. Okay, hopefully we've gotten all of that fixed now. But yeah, I don't have much of anything else to say for these pre-thoughts. Just wanted to get this all figured out, so I cut the video, and yeah. So yeah, I have hopes for this series to progress a little further and to get a little better, to elevate itself, and just make something more than what we got at this moment. And hopefully it really kicks into some overgear, because they have a lot of good setup here that could really go into some excellent stuff down the line. So, all of that being said, though, yeah, I was this close to just continuing on anyway. There are a lot of other great things to check out on the channel as well. We have a bunch of great series reactions during the course of the week, Monday through Friday. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube or YouTube adjacent reactions. Basically anything that doesn't fit into a full series reaction or a movie one. And speaking of movie reactions, we have those every weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday, we post a movie reaction each of those 2 days. They are recorded during the week, but I put them up on the weekend just to make sure that every day has something going on for it. We are also currently going through 2 separate Let's Plays. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we are doing Spider-Man 2. Really enjoying that. We just got past the mark of where we had the audio issues. So parts 10 and up should be all good on the audio issues. If you're discovering this late and everything, parts 1 through 9 do have some audio issues, especially 5 through 9. But starting with part 10, everything is fixed, and still having a good time with it no matter what. This has been a fantastic playthrough. On Saturdays, we also are going through Anno Mutationum. This is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. And if you want to know how to donate for a Let's Play, check out the announcement video for PS5 Game Reward Months. That will be up on the channel. You can just search through the channel to find it. It should be pretty easy. And that will give you all the information that you need in order to donate for a game if you want me to play something specific. That all being said, though, let us just get going with this reaction and hope for the best. So, when the redirect fades to black, pause, or when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction because, yes, we do redirect everything, all reactions on this channel. I know it's not the most fun way to watch this. You don't want to have to go and click another link and all that. But you know how YouTube's copyright system is. It's crap. And unfortunately can cause a lot of problems. So just to be safe, I just felt it's better to redirect all the reactions and make sure that we don't have any issues with any possible channel strikes, or even worse, getting the channel terminated. I've dealt with that before. It sucks ass. It's not something I want to deal with again. So we're just playing it safe and trying to have everything redirected. On the upside, though, that means all of you, yes, every one of you, gets to see the full unedited reaction completely free. No paywall, no Patreon. You don't even have to sync up your own copy. You just go to the link in the description below, click on it, follow it to the site, and watch the entire unedited reaction completely free. I think that's pretty awesome, honestly. Not a lot of YouTubers do that. So, yeah. And after you watch it, you can come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode, as well as just my general thoughts on things and possibly some other stuff as well. It's always worth it to check it out. So, all of that being said, though, thank you as always so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Now, see, this is what I wanted, and I know I probably didn't explain it well in the pre-thoughts and everything, especially with the camera issues we were having, but this is what I wanted. This is the kind of thing I was looking for. Like I said, not necessarily these big, extravagant battles or anything. Don't need, like, these amazing, like, high, I keep wanting to say graphics, and I know that's the wrong word. These extremely well animated, like, battle scenes or anything like that. That's not what I was, like, looking for. What I was wanting from this series was for it to kind of find its footing and figure out where it was going. Because up until now, these first few episodes has mostly been either set up with the first episode, giving us our backstory and where everything was going to go from there, or with episodes 2 and 3, just kind of like meandering around with where we'd gotten. But this episode actually kicks things off, and it's like, this is the episode where I really believe the series is starting. This is like the true start of Frieren. And this happens in a lot of different shows, where it's like, oh, the first few episodes, you know, you're getting introduced to the characters, to the plot, to the world that this takes place in. And then at a certain point, it, like, hits that moment where it's like, okay, now we're going to actually start the story. Now we're actually going to kickstart the main purpose of all of this. And that seems to be what's going on here. Because we finally have our goal. We have our goal, we have something to look forward to, and this episode is a good way to lead into that. So, this is, like the previous couple episodes, this episode is kind of split into two halves, two little side stories, though they do connect, with especially, like, the writings of Flamme, the ancient mage and everything. the two halves are still kind of like separate little things that Frieren and Fern are going through. In the first half, they arrive at this village, and they are asked to clean up the water area. The water area, the the coast. Let's say they're asked to clean up the coast for this upcoming festival, this upcoming like big sunrise festival where it's like, oh, we watch the sunrise together. It's this big thing, and we see how it reflects off the water and all. And so Freerun and Fern start doing so. Every day they come to the coast and start to like pull all the wrecked ships and stuff out of the water, collect and check out the stuff that comes up with them, such as treasure and whatnot. And through all of this, we get to learn more about Frieren as well, learning that she is not a morning person. Which, same girl. It's like she has a lot of trouble getting up early, and when she does get up, it takes her a bit to actually be awake. Very much the same. Um, Usually, I wake up currently around 9:30, somewhere between 9:30 and 10. Um, and it usually takes me half an hour to an hour to actually be like really awake, to be fully like there. And as such, when I wake up, I usually, do my normal stuff, get everything ready, usually have food almost right away just to help me wake up a little better. I don't go right into recording. I used to do that when I woke up earlier and everything, but I'm not really doing that now. So, yeah, different kind of situation calls for different kind of sleeping patterns, I guess. But yeah, so they we get to see how they interact and everything, and the village offers a tome, a grimoire that supposedly are the works of the ancient mage Flame. And we find out that apparently most of the time, in fact, almost all the time, any writings that are attributed to Flame are fakes. It's one of those situations where, because this ancient mage is so legendary and well known, there are a lot of counterfeits out there to make money. People will sell them and trade them in order to get stuff that they need or want. It's a real life thing that happens, where people try to pawn off things that they claim belong to like a celebrity or something. It's like you see this all the time if you watch like any of those like pawn shop shows, like Pawn Stars or whatnot. You'll see that kind of thing all the time. And so sometimes there will be legitimate stuff in them, of course, but you'll see the fakes just as much. um, and so we see then the second half comes in after they've. Oh, well, okay. Before we get to that, I almost missed a part. So they clean up the shore, and it's the day of the festival. Frieren has to be gotten up, even though she tried to stay up all night for it. And they see the sunrise. And I like that they don't make this big deal out of it because it is just a sunrise, but it makes it clear what the actual appeal of it is. We see through flashbacks and everything that Himmel thought that Frieren would like the sunrise, that she would understand it if she saw it. So now we're seeing like the current day how that happens, and she doesn't seem too impressed by it. So it's made clear that she doesn't really get it. However, she then sees Fern's reaction to it, and it clicks. It's not about what you think of the sunrise on your own. It's about spending that time and experiencing it with someone you care about. It has nothing to do with the sunrise itself. The sunrise isn't anything special. That's kind of the point. but it's the fun and just enjoyment of getting to experience that, something that would normally be seen as kind of mundane, experiencing that with loved ones, and how that changes your entire perspective on that, which is again a very real thing. There's a lot of things out there that's like just super mundane and not that interesting, but when you see it with others and experience it with others, it means more. So really like how that was showcased in here too, especially because you see the moment it clicks for Frieren. You see her look over at Fern and see Fern like really enjoying it, and you see it just like absolutely click in that moment in Frieren's head, and she gets it. It's great. It's a really good scene. Then we go to the second half of the episode, which focuses on reintroducing us to Eisen. Eisen the dwarf, who, while not as long lived as Frieren, and apparently dwarves don't live as long as elves, which makes sense, but they still live longer than humans and whatnot. He is still quite old at this point, and he's remembering of the time where Heiter explained why he prays and why he believes in heaven. And that it's not so much about whether or not heaven is even real. It's a convenient idea to believe that loved ones and whatnot would have, something happy and hopeful to look forward to rather than just, non-existence. Which, as a Christian, I want to talk about this real quick, because that's very much a realistic and mature way of looking at it. Because we have no fucking idea if heaven actually exists. I feel like a lot of people need to realize that. There's a lot of Christians out there who try to like push their beliefs on others and act like, oh, I'm right. I know what I'm talking about. And it's like, you don't actually fucking know at all. Because we don't know. We have no clue. We have faith. Christianity and Christian beliefs, and just religious beliefs in general, are based on faith. And faith is by its very nature blind. It is a system in which we just believe without enough real evidence. We believe based on convenience because it's a nicer thing to think about. It's more hopeful and nice and lovely than thinking about, oh, when we die we just cease to exist. Do you not understand how fucking terrifying that thought is? Maybe it's just me because existential shit freaks me out, but I have literally stayed up at night at times freaking the fuck out, like actually panicking over the idea of what happens to my like consciousness when I die. It's like that shit terrifies me. And so the idea of like thinking about like heaven and whatnot is very much comforting. And Heiter here like showcases how maturely he's thinking about this. How he's basically saying he doesn't know if heaven exists or not. He's saying that he chooses to believe that because it makes him feel better, basically. And we see how that affects Eisen, a guy who didn't pray, who didn't believe in heaven, who believed traditionally that after death you just return to the earth, basically. And we see how his entire mindset was changed because of the convenience of the belief in something more, to the point where now all this time later he's still praying because Heiter's words there got to him. And he understood the emotional appeal of something like that. It's just a great scene that reflects a lot about real life and Christian and just religious beliefs, and in a very mature, sensible way that's, not like a lot of the Christians out there in real life who are fucking terrible and pushing their shit on you and making you try to feel bad if you believe differently than them. And I could go on and on about that entire shit about the corruption, the actual corruption in Christianity and stuff. I'm not talking about like shit like, oh, the priest drinks, because that's not actually an issue. I'm talking about like shit where it's like, oh, they're going to advocate for people being literally stoned to death in the modern day. That's lovely. Yes, that's what I want to hear a priest is doing. This shit still happens and it's really fucked up. It's like, oh, that person's gay, kill them. I have literally heard pastors say that. And it's just like, Jesus fuck. But yeah, it's like, it's cool to see like a religious character in something that is shown to be very mature and, kind about that kind of shit. It sucks that that's as rare as it is, but yeah. Um, but either way, Eisen asks Fern and Frieren to help him find these notes that are attributed to Flamme. And although most of the time writings attributed to her, to Flamme, are seen as fakes and everything, Eisen believes that he has a good lead on this and that it is most likely real. So they agree to help. They decide to find like a big tree and everything in the forest. And after some looking, eventually do succeed in finding it. Well, Fern actually finds it. And it's at this point we get a different kind of flashback. We see a flashback to when Frieren was young, like actually young. And she was just a student. And she was training under Flamme. Flamme was her master. And we see Flamme seemed like a very lovely woman, by the way, who was very encouraging and wonderful. And although you hear Frieren talk a little shit about her here, it's like it's very clear that Frieren very much respected and cared for her. Probably one of the only people that Frieren really, really did care about, especially to that degree, prior to Fern. Because even her adventuring party, she didn't care about in that way back then. That's kind of the point of why she's trying to change herself now, because she realized she didn't care about them in any great way, and Himmel's death made her realize that. So yeah, but we see that there very much is that care there, and so it's kind of it kind of shows why she's almost a little annoyed whenever she hears about Flamme's writings and everything, and always finds these fakes, because it's like she would know what her master's writings were actually like and how to tell if they're real or not. They end up finding a way to get into the tree through magic and all, and discover the real writings of Flamme, which that was obviously going to happen. And it reveals a way to communicate with the dead. Something that Frieren has heard about before, but has never believed could actually happen, and has never really wanted. But Eisen brings up the idea, like, oh, you could communicate with Himmel and give him a, like, genuine farewell this time, actually, like, get a lot of things off your chest. And Frieren's like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. And it's clear it's more along the lines of she doesn't feel she's worthy of doing it. She doesn't feel like she's yet earned that kind of honor, because she hasn't really fully reached her goal of understanding people yet. But Eisen basically forces her into it. It's like, oh, you wanted to do something for me? This is what I want you to do for me. And she's like, you cunning bitch. Not literally, but that's basically what she says. You cunning little bitch. But she takes it on, and we find out that she and Fern are going to be starting a 10-year journey, retracing the steps that their party once that Frieren and her friends' party once took to reach the castle of the Demon King. A journey that Frieren realizes more and more as time goes on meant a lot to her, and meant a lot to the people who should have meant more to her. And now she gets to take that journey on once again with Fern, someone she's grown to greatly care for. They're going to go back over there, despite Frieren being upset because of it being very cold over there. They're going to go up there to the north, and they're going to find this land of the dead in order to find and communicate with Himmel. This is an actual goal for the series. Outside of just Frieren having her little mission to learn more about people and stuff, this is more of a solid, like, benchmark for this series to go for. And it feels like the show is now finally starting, like I said. This is what we needed. We needed something like this to just really make us understand and feel like this series is going places, literally. But I also want to briefly touch on something I talked about late into the reaction portion. I mentioned that there are a lot of people out there who have like headcanoned that Frieren is autistic. And speaking as an actual autistic person, I can kind of see it. There are certain aspects that are often attributed to autistic people like myself, such as hyperfixations on one or two short focuses. In Frieren's case, it would absolutely be stuff like her hyperfixation on learning new and weird magic, as well as discovering strange things in the world, such as giant skulls. That was still weird. Or potions that dissolve all your clothes. Stuff like that we've seen in previous episodes. And not only are there the hyperfixations, but another key aspect, another key trait that a lot of autistic people have, and that is often used for depictions in media, is a very difficult time forming connections. And again, I want to make it clear that not all autistic people are the same. Autistic people can face a lot of different symptoms, a lot of different issues, depending on various factors. And some autistic people have a lot more trouble dealing with them than others. And there's a lot of people who have in the past used terms like high and low functioning, but we don't really like those terms anymore because it's not really entirely accurate, nor is it, nice sounding. It sound like when you say someone is low functioning, it sounds really rude, even if it's not meant in that way. And when you say someone's high functioning, it kind of gives people an excuse to not take their issues seriously. And I want to bring this up because I've been in that exact position. Like I mentioned, am autistic. And for a long time, most of my life, since I got initially diagnosed, I have been told that I am high functioning. And this has made people not take my autism seriously. Most notably, my parents. They, especially my father, have this thought in their head that I am able to act, think, and do stuff in the same way as anybody else, simply because I am quote unquote high functioning. And this has led to a lot of pain, a lot of issues, and has led me into very bad situations that have really fucked up my mental health, to put it simply. Um, and because of that, it's done a lot of damage to me. Because here's the thing, there's a lot of things that, yeah, I can do. Like, I can cook for myself, I can go shopping for myself, stuff like that. But in a lot of ways, I cannot take care of myself. There's a lot of things that I just cannot do, or things that I forget to do, things that just completely like fly over my head. And there's a lot of things that I don't understand even slightly. For example, I could not tell you even slightly how to go about um, buying or renting a home or apartment or whatnot. I have, like, that just completely mystifies me as to how someone can just do that. I I I do not have the ability to drive a car. I have never taken driver's training formally, and the only little bits of like practice or anything I've had has kind of left me just kind of confused and scared. I am really bad at talking on the phone, like really bad at it, which makes it very hard for me to even think about scheduling appointments or stuff like that. That kind of stuff just honestly freaks me out. Partially due to anxiety, just heavy anxiety that I'm always suffering from as well. But also, it's just like I don't know how to talk to someone over the phone. That probably sounds really fucking weird to any of you who are neurotypical, but it is like one of the most difficult things for me. Even family members, I have a really difficult time talking to over the phone. It's like it almost is like my brain is just not computing whenever I try. And it's like you see the point I'm trying to get with here is you kind of see a lot of these kinds of traits with Frieren. Obviously not to the exact same degree or the same way, but you can definitely see some of this with her. The hyperfixations and stuff are obvious. You have the difficulty forming connections and, talking to people and understanding feelings and emotions and stuff like that. You get the gist. If you have known autistic people or understand like symptoms that they can face, then you should probably be able to see it. As long as you're not going like by shit like celebrities like Sia or companies like Autism Speak says, you should be good. Because it's like anything related to that is all fucked up, and yeah, they're not good examples to look at. Seriously, Autism Speaks fucking sucks. They are not a good company. They are terrible for actual autistic people. Um, and it's just like it's an absolutely shit situation. The fact that they are the like biggest names for autistic representation in the world is fucking atrocious. It's like there are other companies who are actually good at representing autistic people. For one, having autistic people on their board and stuff, which Autism Speaks doesn't have. Just shit like that. You get the gist. The point is, you can very much see this with Frieren. She very much does come across that way through various little things. She even has like little tics that some autistic people have, myself included. I don't know how much it comes across on camera. I don't know if I've like done it a lot because I don't usually pay attention or even notice when I do it. But there's occasions where I make noises. Like I said, I don't actually know if you've noticed this or if I even do it on camera. Because there are certain circumstances and situations where where autistic people who do this um, might not do it in a certain situation like this. It's actually a way for them to hold that back through like some kind of like form of what is the word? Just distraction, I guess, in a way. Um, but like when I'm walking around the house and stuff, I like randomly will make little noises, and there's like no rhyme or reason to them, and I don't even entirely like know what all of them are because it just kind of happens. You know how like when like characters like Luffy in One Piece just randomly make like little noises instead of saying something? That's kind of what I do. Another thing I do is something called stimming, and this is a very common thing for autistic people. Um, Stimming is basically when you're doing something with your hands um, to kind of feel like you're just doing something. I don't know how else to explain it. I could probably look up a definition, just like an actual definition for it. Because that's another thing that's a symptom that I have is I am shit at explaining things. Okay. So stimming, also known as self-stimulating behaviors or stereotypy, whatever, repetitive body movements or movements of objects. Many individuals on the autism spectrum engage in routine stimming. So yeah, it's basically like you're just doing things with like your hands or other body parts, sometimes your feet or whatnot, in order to like stimulate yourself. It's something that a lot of us don't even think about that we're doing. Um, for example, some people like twiddle their thumbs together and whatnot. For me, I'm just usually always playing with something. One example, I have a rubber band here. I roll it in my hands, like I roll it from its like natural state into like kind of like a ball, like this. Sometimes I'll stretch, like pull on it and stuff, things like that. If I don't have that, uh, I before I got that just recently, I was. This is a weird one, but I've been using these like these tickets. You know, these like red tickets that you can buy at like a dollar store or whatnot. I got these from like a board game night that a friend hosted because he was having like a little board game drawing, and I would like play with them in my hands. I'd like move them around my hands. I'd like shuffle them, stuff like that. Um, Sometimes I've used my comb here. I flip it in and out of its holder because it's a flip out comb. Stuff like that. Sometimes I like run my fingers along the teeth. Teeth, yeah, teeth is correct for a comb. Stuff like that. Most of the time, if I have a rubber band, though, that is what I go to. And some some people have called this in the past fidgeting and whatnot, which is not the best term for it, but that's where stuff like fidget spinners and fidget cubes came from. Those were basically created as well, fidget toys in order to stim with. Um, and it ended up becoming like this big thing where it's like, oh, this is a pop culture thing now. It's like, that's not why it was created, you fools. It's annoying. I don't like things. I don't like things that make a lot of noise though. Fidget spinners, when you spin them, they actually do make a noise. And fidget cubes usually have like the little buttons and everything, the clickers, and it's like those. I don't like it when they make too much noise because like if I'm gonna be stimming while watching something, I don't want that to be heard. If that makes any sense. So it's not like I'm gonna like really snap the rubber band like that. I'm just gonna be like pulling on it gently or again rolling it and stuff like that. And I usually do that when I'm just sitting here reacting to something. My hands will be below the camera line and I'll be playing with it in my hands. And it's something that I just do. Again, it's not like something I necessarily try to do. It's not something I even notice I'm doing half the time. It's just a natural thing that I do. Rubber bands are actually my favorite thing to stim with. Funny enough, I don't know. It's satisfying to me whenever I actually do notice I'm doing it. And it's just like even if I have multiple things around me, I almost always just like habitually go for the rubber bands. I wonder if we'll ever see Frieren stim. That would be really interesting. That would almost kind of confirm it. I feel like yeah, other people can stim too, but that is very much an autistic thing, or ADD and stuff like that. But it's very much seen like as a big thing for people on the autism spectrum. So yeah, just getting into a big conversation here about autism. Sorry for the length of these afterthoughts, but I don't talk about this as much as I do with other stuff on the channel. So it's like it's almost kind of fun in a weird way to actually get to discuss this, to like really get into discussing it. But yeah, I can. The point is, I can absolutely see Frieren being autistic, like people had canon it. And the cool thing is that even the people who are headcaning this, it's not being seen as like an insult or anything. It's like they're actually like giving an intense amount of love to her. Like she's an exceptionally popular character. Since this series came out, the series is exceptionally popular. Like probably one of the biggest series to come out in recent years, honestly, in terms of popularity. And again, that goes for her as a character too. So people are definitely not saying this in any kind of hateful way or judgmental way, which is really nice because autism has been used as almost a slur at times and has definitely been used in a very negative manner. So people like being very positive towards it is great to see. Um, I also remember like a lot of the MLP fandom, the Brony fandom, um, headcanoned characters like Pinky. Well, honestly, really Pinky's entire family as autistic. Pinky, Maud, Limestone, Marble, all of them really. But especially Pinky and Maud are both very much seen as autistic by the Brony community, which I very much believe, like very strongly believe they both are. And it kind of shows that you can also see autism in different ways too, because there are very much different types of autistic people. It's a spectrum, like I said. I'm more of the Maud kind for sure, or I guess the Frieren kind. Though I have a little bit more, I'm able, I can show a little more emotion than they can. I'm still not. I feel great with it though all the time, and I think honestly doing YouTube has helped me get better with it, as has doing panels at conventions. Either way. Uh, I have talked about this so goddamn long, so we should probably close these afterthoughts out. But before we do, I want to remind you that there's a lot of great content to check out on the channel. Every Monday through Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube or YouTube adjacent reactions. Every Saturday and Sunday, we have movie reactions, and those are recorded earlier in the week, but they're uploaded on the weekends, just so every day has something going on for it. We're also currently playing through 2 separate Let's Plays every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We're going through Spider-Man 2, which had some audio issues in parts 1 through 9, but that is fixed as of part 10 and should be all good going forward. And on Saturdays, we're doing a Let's Play of Anno Mutationum, which is a donation reward for Matthew Vasquez. If you want to know how to donate for a Let's Play in the future, check out the announcement video for PS5 Game Reward Months. You can search for that on the channel pretty easily, and that should give you all the information you need to just figure that out if you want to make a donation for a game to see me play something specific. But all of that being said, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any thoughts you want to share on the episode or on autism even, please feel free. But if you, I'm just going to say now, if you end up being like terrible about autism or like terrible towards autistic people, I will probably block you. Because I'm not going to put up with that shit. So just, you can share your thoughts. Don't be an asshole. That's pretty much always the goal here. Just don't be an asshole. Don't be an anti-autism asshole. Whatever you would call that. Just be a good person. How about that? Anyway, yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, no spoilers. Do not spoil me as to anything coming in the future of this series, because I want to remain spoiler-free. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.